compliment. For that, I thank you.
What is happening now? There are hopeless and hungry.
Now it's time for us to stand up for God or we fall to nothing.
It's time now for Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Listening to the general public, what the public is saying.
And good afternoon, Radio Cayman Nation, and a very happy Thursday. Thank you for tuning into your station of the nation, Radio Cayman. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We do have another full lineup today, including the team from Rotary Central, the National Museum joining us a bit later to discuss their 31st anniversary this coming weekend, and a combo interview later on the show between Doctors Hospital and Health City on just how they've come along throughout this past year and preparations for the upcoming border reopening. And don't forget, following Talk Today, there will be a government press briefing at 3 p.m. live on Radio Cayman. As always, we do welcome your stories, feedback, and questions and invite you to join the conversation. Simply dial 1-800-534-TALK. That's 1-800-534-8255 or 949-8037. Or you can always WhatsApp us at 925-3261. Back with more Talk Today following this very brief disclaimer.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and very pleased to have in studio the team from Rotary Central here to discuss the upcoming music extravaganza. Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. So let's get, very quickly, what year is this for the extravaganza? Because this has been going on for quite a while. It's a staple in our community. 26th anniversary.
Yes.
It's quite a while, man. Has it always been the $40,000 giveaway?
No.
No.
I think the first year was a vehicle and then a car, and then after that we changed it to the cash.
They said they wanted the money.
Yes. Money seems to go a little further than a car.
It does. You know what? I mean, either way, it's a great scenario. Because we have other groups that give away cars, but especially this time of year, right? It's right before the holidays. You're prepping for 2022, and
Christmas is around the corner.
Christmas shopping is right around the corner.
New houses and cars and
new houses.
Down payments. Hey,
anyone listening right now who wants to get me a Christmas gift of a house, let me know. I'm here. So, President Corleen.
Yes.
This is your, how long now? When did you become president of Rotary?
So our Rotary year runs from July 1st to June 30th. So we do off calendar year. So I started 5 months now in. 5 months in?
Yep. So almost halfway through the tenure. How do you feel about it?
So far, so good. The time goes much faster than you think. Once you get in there, it's go. Sure. And then it's like, you're drop dead.
Was there like a smooth transition handover, like a relay, or did someone throw the baton at you and run away?
We do a lot of planning beforehand. Okay. So we already know who's going to be the president next year and the year after that. Oh. So the current president, she's already got her board. We do elections in October, so the board is picked. Then you can start planning. You got from January, there's incoming board meetings and there's outgoing board meetings and joint board meetings. So there's a lot of planning that goes into running the club.
I'm sure there's other boards on out, and granted, every board operates a little differently, but that level of planning, that level of just the foresight of knowing that there has to be a transition, a smooth transition. We have so many initiatives that are running that if you don't have that smooth transition, somewhere someone's going to drop the ball and
that's right.
someone's going to suffer the consequences, right? And that level of planning, has that always been the case for Rotary Sanctuary, or is that like a relatively new kind of established?
I think it's been the case. I'm still kind of new to...
Yes, it has been the case over the years, right? That we had that proper transition.
I love the fact that you've had that level of foresight from previous. Like, it didn't take a massive collision of events to see that.
Yeah, and some of that is handed down from Rotary International as well. So, you know, there are certain mandates that we need to follow.
Sure.
For that is handed down from Rotary International.
And the highlights of the first 5 months?
One of the main things that I wanted to do, which we did the first month off, was the Gumball rally, which Steve, VP Steve here, was instrumental in assisting with organizing. We were able to raise some money. We had loads of fun. Everybody that participated said they wanted to do it again, and we've since given that money back into the community as well. I'll let Steve speak on it if he wants to.
Steve was the voice of the Gumball rally.
He's the voice of everything now.
Yeah, apparently. No, the Gumball Rally was a really good event, and it exceeded our expectations and hopes.
Oh, that's great.
And you know, with that, we managed to put just over $6,500 into the Alex Panton Foundation, but more importantly, it's going towards a new hotline for kids for mental abuse. So it's really it's hit home. It's helped fund or seed money for a new initiative within the Alex Panton Foundation, and it's just been really great that we've been able to be part of that. So, you know, stand by for next year because we're going bigger.
Bigger?
Yes, bigger.
Everybody has said we have to do it again. We have to do it again. So
where did the idea come from for the Gumball rally?
President Corleen and I kind of had similar trains of thought, but not communicating to each other about some kind of vehicle-based scavenger hunt, and it just kind of grew from there. So we just managed to put this together, get cars involved, and the Gumball Rally is just the name of one of the best car movies ever. Which,
that I've
even
never
though
seen.
Here's the caveat: this is not a race. It was a race across America, but it just seemed a great name to go for what we wanted to achieve. So
I guess Fast and Furious wasn't the way to go, right?
No. We had police assistance and police advice on this, so no, this was not a race.
Did they say you can't call it Fast and Furious?
Well, fortunately, one of our Rotarians is a police officer, and she kept us on the straight and narrow in terms of what we should and shouldn't consider calling it, so we're good.
That's good. To have that in-house kind of laying of the laws, right? Do this, don't do this. Definitely do not call it Fast and Furious. Gumball is a good, safe name. And past President Larry.
Yes.
How did you feel about the Gumball Rally this year? Seeing something new come into the foray of the Rotarian events.
Well, I believe that definitely it achieved its purpose, and it's a great event to support the need that we have in our community. Definitely. So I think to have it now basically as another signature project of Rotary Central will be a great thing.
That's really cool. You have the new signature event, right?
Yeah, and I think every year we just keep getting and adding more and more. We've had the Alex Panton Foundation Gala 2 years, and
yes.
The first year it was a hit, and it's like, yeah, we need to do this again, and it just keeps snowballing into these events that are now signatures.
Do you have like a waiting list of like charity groups that are on the list that want to see more, get more assistance, and have come to you for more help in the community? Or is there a vetting process, I'm assuming, to some degree?
Well, we can't be all things to all people.
Sure.
So whereas, as long as the day is long, we will do everything and anything we can within our means. There are sometimes occasions where we're just unable to assist. So we try and take a very objective view of every proposal or request for assistance to see,
Sure.
How is this going to benefit the majority of people within the community. We're not in a position where we can, as a general statement, we're not in a position where we will provide some kind of assistance that benefits one person, unless it's absolutely significant extenuating circumstances. So we get people communicating with us on a very frequent basis. They come and pitch their proposal, and then we see what we can do to help. But more often than not, the answer is yes. If it's not yes, we'll see how we can get round to this.
Or sometimes we can find other agencies that can assist as well. So we may take the information, digest it, and then say, you know what, check this agency, or we can speak with this agency on your behalf, and things like that. Yeah.
Sure. Past President Larry Sardes, we'll talk to us there. Anything further to add on? Because you've been involved with the Rotary Central for a number of years.
Yes.
Going back, has that been generally the mindset of Rotary and how best to assist the community?
Absolutely. Definitely over the years, that's what we've done. And, like my two colleagues here has stated, you find that we definitely do what we can, as much as we can, to assist.
That's fantastic. Very noble overall, because an incredibly noble initiative that Rotary Central has taken on to help the community. And obviously this is one of your signature events we're here to discuss today with the upcoming 26th music extravaganza, which after the break we'll go further deeper into detail about it. But let's get to the highlights. What are the prizes?
Oh, $40,000. Cold, hard cash. CI, that is.
CI.
Yes, CI.
You can hear the jingle bells. It's kind of like playing in the background, right? As you said that, jingle bells. And this is November 27th is the drawing for this. Walk us through just the prize list, because then we have the good news we're going to announce to our listeners in just a moment.
Sure. So the first prize, of course, is $40,000. We also have a second prize of $4,000 and 6 cash prizes of $1,000 each. Now, maybe I'm getting into a little bit too much detail, and we can get into that afterwards, but we do offer the sellers of our main prizes a percentage of the cash winnings as well. So we can probably discuss that when we come back from the break. But we are giving back a lot of the money that we do make, and then in prizes, and then what we don't give back as prizes goes right back into the community.
Okay. And so we have the $40,000 grand prize. Second prize is $4,000, 6 $1,000 prizes. And then each of the outlets that are selling tickets, if their winning ticket is sold from their outlet, they have the potential to
get some
with the money back to them, which is great for them. It's just an added bonus. They have to help the community and potentially get a little lottery winnings for themselves, right? So what is the good news for our listeners?
Well, the good news is that we will be giving one lucky person a free ticket today. So the first person that calls in right now will win that lucky ticket.
You heard it. So Radio K-Man Nation, if you were listening, give us a call. The number is 1-800-534-8255 or 949-8037. Miss Susan Watson is standing by. We're going to go to our commercial break. When we come back, we'll announce our winner. Back with more Talk Today right after this.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Are you planning a social, an office party, or event over the holiday season? Make the most of your holiday party and leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go with the option of a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. Cater your holiday parties with Subway. Visit subway.ky for menu options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Come on, Cayman. Let's get ready to reopen. Countries all over the world are proving life can go on and we can safely coexist with COVID-19 in our community. With open borders, our readiness will be vital to protect each other and our islands. We can do this. Have your voice heard and pledge you are ready to safely reopen. Visit reopencayman.com. Join the movement and pledge that you are ready to reopen on November 20.
The technology sector is forecast to be one of the fastest growing industries in the next decade, with more jobs available than skilled people to fill them. Enterprise Cayman is helping to fill this void and grow the next generation of Caymanian innovators, giving young people access to high-quality learning experiences with the opportunity to pursue careers in technology and innovation sectors. Learn to code, how product development works, enter professional competitions, access high-tech resources, network with special economic zone industry professionals, and much, much more. Visit enterprisecayman.ky to find out more. Brought to you by Cayman Enterprise City.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and pleased to have in studio again the team from Rotary Central. We have Miss Corleen Goodman-Hopshaw, the president of Rotary Central, first vice president, Mr. Steve Tippett, and then past president, Mr. Larry Tibbetts. Thank you again for joining us in the studio. Before the break, we announced that we were going to be giving away one music extravaganza ticket for our first caller. So, Miss Susan, who do we have on the line? And good afternoon, caller.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for calling Talk Today. Did you call
Thank you.
Did you call for a specific reason today?
Sorry?
Did you call for a specific reason today?
Yeah, I called for that ticket.
We can't blame you. Well, what is your name, ma'am?
Aisha.
Aisha.
Can you spell your name, please?
Iesha.
Aisha, we're going to let you give the rest of your contact details to Miss Susan Watson off air, and then your music ticket will be available here to collect at the station. All right?
Thank you so much.
Congratulations again, and thank you for calling in.
Best of luck.
Too.
All right, congratulations to Aisha on her winning ticket for the upcoming Rotary Extravaganza fundraiser, $40,000 up to grab. Aisha, if you do win, just don't forget who who was your. It was Miss Susan Watson was the one that gave you that ticket. So, President Corleen, back to you.
Yeah.
With Rotary, obviously a very big. Oh, I'm sorry, we do have another caller on the line who had a question for us.
Okay.
Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today. You had a question for our panel.
Yeah, I do.
Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Yep. I think, Rotary is doing a great job within the community, but a question I have, what are the plans to pull this occasion, or this, whatever you call it, off within the safe protocols of COVID? Because there's been nothing said about that so far.
Caller, thank you. I can let you go there. I'll let the panel here answer your question. Thank you so much for calling in.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very important question, and it is something which is on the forefront of our minds as we try and get this event going and to its successful completion this year. So, the actual drawing itself, we are still planning on making that on the evening of Saturday the 27th. It is in an outdoor area, and historically, especially when we look at last year when we were in similar conditions, we are still within the guidelines that have been set down by the government in terms of the maximum size of crowds which may gather either inside or outside. It's important to point out, though, at this point, is that people who can buy tickets, they don't have to be at the event to win. Okay, so as long as we have a phone number and a name, the draw is going to take place. We're just putting on a few bands, etc., as well for entertainment for the people that do wish to turn up.
Yeah, we're also aware that there is a press briefing this afternoon at 3. So we will be looking to see if there are any changes or, updates or that we need to consider for the event itself.
That's great. Past President Larry, anything you want to add to that?
Not really. I think that it's been pretty much covered in its entirety.
Thanks so much. Caller, did you have any other questions? Oh, nobody.
Thank you so
Caller
much.
Steve, thank you so much for answering. I think the added point there that you don't have to be there to win is a huge bonus there. So if there's a concern someone has, or if there's someone who's unfortunately still in isolation for whatever it might be, they're not going to lose out on their prize. They're still going to get it.
Absolutely. We're going to have, hopefully, around about 8,000 tickets out there. We're not going to have 8,000 people based on the premise of one person, one ticket. But we're not going to have that many people in one place.
No.
Realistically, again, looking at last year as our example, we were getting 100, 120 people in one place at one time, because people would come, they would go, and then it's just like a floating mass. So we are fairly confident that this is going to go ahead as planned under the existing guidelines. As the President says, if there's any change in circumstances after the government briefing, then we will fall into line with that. But it's looking to be manageable.
Good.
Yeah, we also considered maybe having like a live stream on Facebook or Instagram or something like that, but it won't be for the full evening. So look out at our Instagram, our Facebook pages to see. You might get a little snippet of the entertainment that's going on,
Sure.
or the live draw itself will be on our Facebook Live.
Oh, great. So people that might not be able to attend the event or choose not to attend the event, they'll still be able to tune in for the after drawing.
Yes.
Is there a rough time frame of what time the drawing kind of takes place, just so people kind of map out their evening?
Well, we normally try to keep it closer to midnight because we want people to stay and enjoy the entertainment, because normally what happens is as soon as the draw is gone, everybody's gone.
Sure.
But I'll let Steve, he's the man in charge this year. So.
Yeah, so I'm going to be very, very safe on my suggestion. It's going to be somewhere between 11:30 and midnight.
You're still going to be a night owl, but you're giving a window.
Absolutely. Yeah. But so the important thing to remember, if we have a phone number, if we have a name, we'll be quite happy to wake you up from your slumbers to give you the good news.
Yep.
Steve, if I win the $40,000, you can call me. I will not be upset if you wake me up from my slumbers if I win the $40,000. I don't think
nobody will be.
I think most people will be upset being woken up at 11:30 for just a random phone call. But Steve calling to say, "Hey, guess what?
Maybe we should just call you at 11:30 on Saturday.
If you prank call me,
yeah,
just tell me this and I didn't win it. That's a different story altogether."
What's your number?
So let's walk through the outlets, because the community can get these tickets anywhere, not only here in Grand, but in our sister islands as well.
Correct.
So let's walk through the locations.
Okay, well, we have tickets being sold at the L. Thompson's. We have Funky Tangs. We have the Walker's Road, Texaco. Then there's our sellers, right, because we try to put it in the hands of people who wish to sell, and they can make some money off the sales, right? So, and then, of course, we have our Rotarians. So basically, this covers in the BRAC, we have Anna Rose Scott, which most people, I'm sure, know Anna Rose. And like today, she'll be right across from Billy's Supermarket in West End. And then she can always be contacted throughout the time on leading up to the event.
Yeah, we've also got the opportunity to buy them online through eventpro.ky. So those people who just want to do it electronically, you've got that as an opportunity. But also as well, certainly from this weekend onwards, there will also be a heavier presence at the major supermarkets, predominantly in the evenings on school nights, but certainly this weekend, Saturday and the following Saturday, then there's going to be a presence out pretty much all day. So Hurley's, Foster's,
Thursday at
Kirk's.
Hurley's.
Yeah.
Yes.
We do the roadside the Thursday and Friday before the event. So you'd see people with tickets out the
they
door.
jump right from the car. Like, you want those ticket sales. I see them like, hey!
Just look for the light tower in the parking lot outside Hurley's and the high visibility vests, and we'll be more than happy to sell you as many tickets as you want. $25 CI per ticket.
Is there multiple ticket discounts at all?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. You can get a multi-ticket discount. You buy a whole book and you get one free.
How many tickets are in a book?
10.
All right. So
only 10. So you pay $2.25 for the whole book.
For the whole book?
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. So you can actually buy one for $25.
Yeah.
Or 11.
No,
10 for $2.25.
Yeah. All right. My math is there. I got it. And then can you buy the day of the event?
Of course you can buy the day of the event. We will be out and about, predominantly in the mornings, at the various supermarkets and whatnot, and then at Hurley's from, say, midday onwards, in front of Salty's. Yeah, we try to keep everything in one location closer to the event so we can keep track of the books. No, because every book needs to be returned, accounted for, before we can actually have the draw. So, accountability is very high.
No, absolutely. Which needs to be. You need to have that accountability, the community trust in not only the fundraiser, but in Rotary itself.
Correct.
Yes.
It carries a lot of weight. Now, as far as this is actually an event, so the event on the 27th is not just a fundraiser or a donation or a raffle. We actually have a couple live bands.
We have 3 live bands for entertainment. We have C&B, the Fabulous 68s, and Deja Blue. So, something to hopefully appeal to everybody in the community. But it's going to be a good night. It's going to be a rocking good night.
What time does the event kick off, roughly?
I think it's
7 o'clock?
Yeah, 7.
Right.
Yeah,
so
just to check my notes there, but yeah.
Fair enough. And family friendly, so kids welcome to come out and have a good time.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. It's the whole point of this is to make it a family-oriented event. So, as long as parents don't mind their kids staying up till 11 o'clock, we have no problem with that.
$40,000, yeah.
Exactly.
I can't go back, but for $40,000, my son can stay up. He's going to go over that. What do I get? What's my cut?
Yeah, but it's also, where we have the venue at Salty's, it also gives us an opportunity of putting back into the community as well. So we know that for the last 20 months, a lot of businesses have been struggling and creaking by. So the fact that we can hold an event like this, and there are places to get refreshments, food, etc., it's putting a little bit back, kind of subconsciously, whilst we're doing what we want to do of raising money for charity.
Absolutely. And so the restaurants will all be open. It's not closing down. The restaurants will all be open there for food.
No.
They are open.
Coming out. Will there be outdoor food as well, or just the restaurants inside?
There were last year, so weather permitting. Then then hopefully that they'll be doing the same kind of service that they had last year.
That's great. Anything further to add on the event?
Not on the event itself, but I think we've touched on it quite a bit, but we do use all these funds to give back to the community. We have a number of projects that we work on. Do you want us to get into those now, or you have?
No, I think we need a whole show to get through that entire list. Just teasing. Actually, after the commercial break, we'll come back. I do want to get further to that because it's important to know that this is a fundraiser event, and while the caller earlier raised a great point regarding the potential for safety concerns, or what measures you've taken to mediate or deal with those safety issues. This ultimately is one of your signature events for Rotary, and the funds raised from the Rotary Extravaganza carry very, very far throughout this community.
Absolutely.
So I definitely it's very important that we actually get into where and how this actually benefits the community at large. On that note, we'll go to our commercial break and come back with more talk today right after this.
Savannah Pharmacy. Shop local and get a head start on your Christmas shopping. For ladies' handbags, clothes, shoes, fragrance, candles, and cosmetics with the newest Farmhouse Fresh line of skincare. For the gentlemen, clothes, shoes, fragrances, gift sets, and toys and games for the kids. Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs. and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
For the record. For information that matters to you, the people. Hear from the government, the opposition, independents, and other experts on issues and solutions that affect you. For the record. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, tune into 89.9 and 93.9 FM for Cayman's Straight Talk Morning Show. For the record.
I invite you to join me for the record. You are invited to be a part of this interesting and informative show. Embrace the opportunity to dialogue with your legislators, policymakers, and those charged with policy implementation.
For the record. Brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors.
Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola.
The 8:10 a.m. weather report, Monday through Friday, is proudly sponsored by Pan American International Insurance Corporation. Pan American International Insurance Corporation, meeting the life, accident, and health insurance needs of individuals and businesses to ensure financial security and peace of mind. For more information, call 949-8304 or visit www.palig.com. That's PALIG.com.
The COVID-19 vaccine is the best way to protect yourself, your loved ones, and our community. It is proven to be safe and effective. Our doctors stand behind the vaccine because it works, and it will save lives. If you are 50 years and older, a healthcare worker, or most at risk from COVID-19, and received your second dose at least 6 months ago, then you're now eligible to receive your third dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Get vaccinated. Let's keep working together to protect the ones we love. Visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus to learn more.
On Tuesday, November 23rd, some customers on South Church Street, South Sound Road, and in Secret and Hidden Gardens on Fairbanks Road may experience short, intermittent interruptions to their electrical service between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. CUC apologizes for these service interruptions, which are necessary for repairs to the transmission system. For more information, contact 949-5200 or email service@cuc.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And again, pleased to have in studio the team from Rotary Central here to discuss the music extravaganza taking place on Saturday, November 27th at Salty's Harbor Grill in Grand Harbor. Congratulations again to Aisha Powell, who called in earlier and won our giveaway ticket. Hope you win. Hope I win first, but if I don't win, Aisha, it's you that we're rooting for to win it. So, President Corlane, before the break, we were talking about the initiatives and all the work that Rotary Central does to help the community and why these funds are so important.
Right.
Walk us through this list. It's an impressive list of activities that you're all
Yes.
involved in.
I'll give you the abridged version because there are just so many things that we get involved with. But one of our main focuses is the children and literacy. So we do a lot for the story times, which we've had to curtail this year because of COVID. The science fair, take a kid fishing. We also assist with the Arrive Alive 345 initiative with the National Drug Council. That is, you make sure that people are, making the pledge, not drinking and driving over the Christmas season. Last year, we also had the Slow Down Cayman initiative, encouraging people to slow down on the road and not speed. There are way too many accidents and crazy driving for our island. We also get involved with the various cleanups. After Tropical Storm Grace, we went up to the Botanic Park and we did our cleanup there. We did a cleanup on the beach up at Barker's for Plastic Day, World Plastic Free Day. We've provided equipment to the dialysis unit. There's a SARA CD equipment that helps lift patients, wheelchairs. We've done the mobility mats at the beach. Support for the Bridge Foundation.
What is the Bridge Foundation?
It's a halfway house halfway house facility that we support. The Bonaventure Boys Home, St. Francis Barton. We actually just finished the paddle wheel. I'll let VP Steve talk on the paddle wheel.
Yeah, we were approached by a member of the community who wanted assistance in giving bikes back to the community. He's an avid cyclist and he's always going around. I'll give him a plug. His name's John Ferguson, and he basically has gone around asking for donated bicycles from people who don't want them anymore, and approached us to see if we would be able to assist him in conjunction with Paddle Wheel to provide funds to get them back to a roadworthy state. And then his mission is to provide bicycles for people who do not have the means for a bicycle. He's just that passionate about cycling. So we've just, I think we've done 2 presentations.
We've done 5 bikes, sorry.
Yeah, but on 2 separate presentations. So they are now out in the community. So it's just a case of give back and play it forward. And this has got such potential to grow, because there are so many people that are not in a position that they are able to get a bicycle or any kind of basic transportation. So this is something which could explode and really gain traction over the course of the next few months, couple of years, etc. And it's all down to John's passion for getting people mobile.
It's a great story, and I guess if I can steal a little light for a second, like that level of story, talking about such a simple initiative of someone who's gone around, reclaimed bicycles that people may not want, refurbished them to a road. It is effort, but it shows how one person can really drive an initiative for something as energy friendly, humane, environmental. I mean, there's so many wins for such a simple, creative solution. That's a fantastic. What is it? A paddle wheel?
It's John Ferguson.
It's John Ferguson in alliance with Paddle Wheel, which is a company on West Bay Road.
That's just a great initiative. Congratulations, John. That's a fantastic and good job on taking that on from Rotary's perspective.
Yep. Yeah, so continuing with the list of things, we also assist with the YMCA. We've made a donation to them. We've also assisted them with painting their ropes course. You probably see that they're doing some refurbishments down there. Loud Silent Voices, another one, probably getting a lot of airplay now. We assisted them last year, and we're continuing to do that this year as well.
This was with the hotline.
No, that's the mental health home that is being held in that's in West Bay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So a separate initiative from the previous one. Okay.
We're also doing international assistance, with our brothers and sisters in Haiti after the earthquake and the storm that they had, and in Bonaco in Honduras, they just had one of their towns that was devastated by fire. We've assisted with them. The UCCI, we continue to support them. JA, Junior Achievement. Inclusion, we work with Inclusion Cayman with regards to their employment partnership, where we're encouraging companies to take on special needs kids to, bring them up into the world of work, give them something to do, just integrating them into the society.
We just had the Sunrise Center on last week, who was discussing their anniversary as well, and how important that is.
And right after this, I'm going to donate or present a check to the Crisis Center as well. So there's a lot going on.
There we go. Is that part of an event, or was that just a donation?
No,
to
just donation.
System?
Yep.
That's great.
Yeah. PP Larry, did I miss anything from that exhaustive list?
It's hard to say because you went over quite a number of our initiatives.
Yeah, definitely. Did you mention polio?
No, well, polio is on. It's actually there. Look,
Yes.
it's on my list. we still working towards the eradication of polio worldwide. We're down to 2 countries in the world that still have polio, and a lot of people might say, why are you harassing yourself or worrying with so far away? But look at COVID. Like something that's in one country can quickly spread to the rest of the world. So we're making sure we do our part.
We've dubbed that the C word on the show.
The C word.
Can't say it. If you can avoid saying it, don't say it.
What word was that?
Yeah, there you go. Can Rotary then now tackle that
Rotary
situation?
International is already spearheading not actual vaccinations and stuff, but we're supporting the vaccination throughout the world.
Say it. You're eradicating COVID the same way you did polio.
We'll get there.
that would be a dream that would be worth being part of. That's for sure.
No, absolutely. Talk about a claim to fame. Like that would be like the next wave.
Well,
to say you eradicated COVID. Yeah,
we'll all do our own little part.
Absolutely. Well, that's all anyone can do, right? So their own little bit of the work that they need to do. Well, let's walk through again the event, if you don't mind. We have November 27th.
November 27th. The social event itself is at Salty's. Okay, starting at 7 o'clock. We have 3 bands that will be providing entertainment. Prior to that, we will be busy selling tickets all over the island, including online. And the idea is to get as many tickets sold and as many tickets put back into the pot as we can before we make the draw sometime between 11:30 and midnight on Saturday the 27th. Just remember, you don't need to be at the event to win. As long as we have a phone number and a name, we're more than happy to wake you up.
And print your name and number very legibly on. Last thing you want to have happen. I remember last year at the event, there was a few names that were being struck with just because the writing on the ticket was
exactly
illegible.
Yes.
Yes.
So if you are still looking for tickets, then we've already given the list about where they are, but just look for the Rotarians at the grocery stores, and that's a good place where you can start.
Absolutely. And then they're also available at A.L. Thompson's, Funky Tangs, Rubus on Walker's Road, and on eventpro.ky, and then in Cayman Brac, from Miss Annie Rose Scott, or today she's across from Billy's Supermarket. So for those residents over in Cayman Brac, you can stop by and pick up your Rotary Music Extravaganza ticket.
And I think that it behooves us to thank all our sellers, because without them we wouldn't be able to get the money in the pot that we so desire and so need in order to do our community projects. So thank you all.
We have 1 minute left for the news break. How can people get involved in selling tickets if they want to sign up to help sell tickets for next year?
My easiest suggestion is if you see somebody at a supermarket selling tickets, just ask them, do you want me to sell tickets? They might be like, I don't know who you are. But this is a small community. Most people know anybody. And
So you
just
have to
contact.
register with Rotary as a ticket seller, and
That's actually, we've never done that per se, but it's probably something we can do going forward.
Yeah, I mean, we're easy enough to find on the websites and things like that. But basically, if someone is interested in selling tickets, then all they need to do is contact a Rotarian or contact through the secretary through the website, and we'll be more than happy to oblige.
That'd be great, even for local businesses, just to get involved and it helps drive traffic to their businesses as well as.
And as I mentioned about the ticket discount, that applies to anybody that sells a book of tickets. So if you sell 10 tickets in a book, you can either keep the 10th ticket free or you keep $25 for yourself.
That's a great bonus.
And on top of that, if you sell the winning ticket, you get $4,000. How great is that?
It's like a win.
Right.
Yep.
And then every the other prizes also carry the 10% as well.
Yep.
Yes.
That's fantastic. All, thank you so much for coming in. Again, for all of our listeners up there in Radio Cayman Nation, it is Saturday, November 27th at Salty's behind Grand Harbor. You can get your tickets from any Rotary members, the authorized ticket sellers, eventpro.ky, A.L. Thompson, Funky Tangs, Rubus on Walker's Road, all the supermarkets, and in Cayman Brac from Miss Annie Rose Scott. Thank you so much again, everyone.
Thank you so much for having us.
We're going to go to our 1 p.m. headline news. When we come back, we'll be meeting the team from the National Museum in regards to their 31st anniversary event this coming weekend.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
I'm April Cummings. A Radio Cayman listener reports armed police officers on the scene near Smith Road Plaza in Georgetown at this hour. They say police appear to be searching the area. We have reached out to the RCIPS for additional details, and we'll bring you more information as we receive it. Now to Radio Cayman's Felicia Rankin-Solins with the rest of this hour's headlines.
The Cayman Islands is joining the global observation of International Men's Day on November 19th, with the Family Resource Center hosting the 10th annual International Men's Day celebration in the Cayman Islands. In international news, Germany's COVID cases hit another high, with 65,371 daily cases recorded. Chancellor Angela Merkel has said a fourth wave of COVID is, quote, hitting us with full force. German MPs vote in favor of a new set of measures, including access to public transport only for people who have been vaccinated or tested. The head of the Women's Tennis Association has cast doubt on an email released by Chinese state media attributed to tennis player Peng Shuai. The tennis star has not been heard from since she made sexual assault allegations against a top Chinese government official 2 weeks ago. In the email, Ms. Peng purportedly says the allegations are, quote, not true. Steve Simon, chairman of the WTA, said the message, quote, only raises his concerns about Ms. Peng's safety. A man has been sentenced to 8 years in prison for intimidating a witness in the R. Kelly trial. Michael Williams.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And now very pleased to have in studio Dr. Peggy and Mr. Brian from the National Museum. Good afternoon. Welcome to Talk Today.
Good afternoon. Excited to be here, Ray.
I'm excited to have you here. This is great. You know, a quick shout out. I promised the gentleman on Facebook earlier. There's a Facebook group called Old Cayman that many people here are part of. And if you're not, I strongly encourage you to jump on this group. It's called Old Cayman. There's an individual, a graphic artist named J.D. Banks.
Oh, yeah, with his restoration
photos. And so I'm on there earlier, and it popped up on my work Facebook profile. And I saw some of the work that he's done. So I told him I was going to give him a shout out today in the area because we have the museum here in the studio, and he has all these great photos. And he's done such an amazing job of restoring them to, like,
I saw that one, actually. That one posted the other day. It was Shedden Road, wasn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, he posted a few recently, yeah.
And a few recently, the conch shells.
Yeah.
I saw that and it stuck out because it looked like a painting at first. Then I realized he had restored these old photographs. And so J.D. Banks, I promised to give you a shout out on the radio. And if you're not a fan of this Facebook page, definitely check it out. There's some amazing work and just some great stories, old photos that have been shared throughout Cayman's history. But on that note, let's jump into... The National Museum has a big event this weekend.
We do.
Tell us all about it, Peggy.
Well, this is the museum's 31st anniversary of being open to the public. And while all of our anniversaries we do something exciting, quite often it's like opening a brand new exhibit. But with the COVID situation these days, we decided to take it all outdoors, follow all the government protocols, and that we would just have a super look-ya. Old-time days come back again, how we used to live.
That's great. Who came up with the name?
It was Mr. Alvin.
Well, we talked about old times and so forth, and Brian called on Mr. Alvin, to tell him what we want to do, and he said, "Oh, you mean old time days come back again?" Yeah. And it was like, "Oh, yeah, that's it."
The artist and Brian said, "You know what? That's gonna be the name of our event."
That's the name.
That was the name. That's great though. And so it's this coming Saturday. Now, is this Saturday the actual 31st anniversary day?
Well, it actually is this year, 20th.
Oh, that's fantastic. So it actually lined up.
It lined up like pretty
magic.
well.
That's great. Now, every year you do some kind of celebration. In recent years, obviously the COVID situation has been a nagging situation for the past 2 years. But prior to the COVID situation, what have you done differently from then to now?
What do you mean, our protocols
Yes.
inside? Okay, well, we take your temperature at the door.
You do? Okay.
We do. We have well, at this particular event, you'll be guided in one direction into the museum, and when you come out, you'll have to go a different direction.
Okay.
But all through the museum, there's those little circles and arrows to show you the directions that you can go and how close you can stand to people.
Yep.
If you're with a family group, there can be a couple more of you, but if you're not, then you have to keep your 6 foot distance.
Sure.
And I believe we only allow 10 people in the theater at a time, and all people must wear masks inside.
Exactly.
And we're just constantly sanitizing as well. So, yeah. So most of the event is outdoors, but people, we think that people will come through the museum, but in smaller numbers throughout the day, and they'll be able to take advantage of seeing the audiovisual and visiting all of the exhibits as well.
Exciting stuff. But now this year, we're going outside as well.
Well, every year we go outside, but this year we're going super outside.
Super outside, yeah.
You want to explain that, Brian?
Yeah. Well, we close Gordon Avenue down, and we have both sides of the street lined with tents. But this year we're just going to do one row of tents on Gordon Avenue and another row out on Harbor Drive, just to have people adequately spaced. Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
So as far as the tents outside, what do you have under the tents?
We have traditional artisans. We have specialty vendors doing art. We have food vendors. We have our local food. We have 2 local food vendors. Another local vendor. She's doing cakes, traditional cakes. That's Jazzy Cakes.
Okay.
And of course, Mr. Will is with his fresh fruits and juices.
Oh, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
And, the reason, well, we closed both streets down this time. We don't have cruise ships in the harbor, so hopefully we're not interrupting flow of traffic and safety or anything like that. But we've also, if you came to mango season when, we were during the pandemic, but Cayman was in a bubble, it was a little bit different.
Sure.
We've taken that, to heart, and every vendor or every artisan or, a person out displaying under a tent is under their own 10 by 10 tent with their own table.
Okay.
And the tables are not like 2, where you come, through a row down the middle of the street. They're just one line of them all the way. So we're expecting the public to do what government says and to to wear their masks and to keep some distance and everything, but to really feel safe to come enjoy the event and just kind of obey the protocols and so that we can move on and enjoy a little bit of our lives.
Yeah, no, we need to do that.
Yeah, we need to do that.
As far as like those tents go, just find out some silver lining for the vendors' sake. That's luxury in a lot of ways for tent vendors.
Get your own space.
You have your own space, your own tent, and you're on Harbor Drive or Seapiers Way, and you're in front of the museum, and you have your own space. It's actually a great little setup. And how many roughly vendors do you have for artisans?
We have about 17 or 18.
That's a good number of artisans. That's fantastic. Is there any, and for those out there in the community, it's best to come out and see for yourselves, but as far as the artisans go, there are the artisans that have been around for a long time that have been doing the crafts for quite long. Do you have any new up-and-coming artisans that are going to be featured as?
Well, we have a new one this year, Lights Eye Art. That's Lucas Anglin. I think it's from West Bay. We reached out to him, so he's going to be displaying some of his art.
That's fantastic.
Santosha Designs. Well, she was with us for mango season, but a few of them actually wanted to return. They were eager to return. We had a huge wait list that they were like, "Can we have a space? Can we have a space?" So yeah, a lot of people were interested.
It shows how valuable this initiative is when you start having a waiting list of individuals that want to get involved. You're not going out chasing people to come get involved. And it shows just the value of the museum to the community.
People are just hungry for being able to display their, and be there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now, as far as the food goes, because that's the important. The art's great. The food's important.
I think the food is like why people come.
Yeah.
We won't say that too loudly, but yes, the food is actually a really good reason to come. The art's a great bonus, though. So we have the Cayman style beef. Is it a cassava cake and stew turtle competition?
And Cayman style beef competition as well.
All 3 are in competition.
Yep.
Who's the judges for this competition? That's actually one of those. How did you decide who the judges were going to be?
Well, we reached out to our ministry. I don't know if Peggy want to speak on that.
Well, we asked our ministry if they would like to. We have 3 judges for each of the food items. Okay.
Oh, okay, so it's not one judge.
Yeah. It's not one judge. It's 3 judges, and
9 altogether.
Yes, but we reached out to the ministry to see if they wanted to have one judge on each of the dishes, and they did. And so we're going to have the acting minister Isaac Rankin from the ministry. He's going to be judging
the Cayman style beef.
The Cayman style beef, and I think Tunisia
Barnes, she's going to be judging the stew turtle.
Yeah, and Melissa Worms is going to be on cassava cake.
Yeah.
And then there's Miss Carmen Conley's going to do cassava cake.
I am to reach out to her. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But she's likely going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised that we never got an invite from the ministry asking any of the other ministries if they wanted to join this judging contest. As soon as they got the invite, it's like, no, I'll keep this in house because I wouldn't share that either.
Yeah.
Asking me to judge a food competition.
Yeah.
Oh, we can squeeze you in. We'll squeeze you into one of them.
Well, there's
my son and I will sign up for the cassava cake.
Okay.
But there's 3 judges, so all the judges is equal. So I guess they've got to get at least 2 out of 3 votes.
So is there still open space for judges?
I think there's one available spot in stew turtle. I think the cassava cake we have all 3 judges.
That's great, but it's a fun scenario, right? Even for the judges and for the community. Granted, there's a lot of pride on those who are actually submitting entries into this. So I appreciate where they're coming from, but it's a lot of fun from the community to have this neighborly feel of being able to compete in something as fun as this kind of contest, right? And I empathize with the judges because while they have a fantastic role of trying out these dishes, they have the harder role of having to make a decision on who wins, right? That's a tough one. So Cayman style beef, cassava cake, and a stew turtle competition. Roughly what time are those taking place? Because the event takes place throughout the whole day.
Yeah, for the whole day. Well, we're announcing the winners around 4 o'clock. Around 4 o'clock, we're going to be announcing the winners.
Okay. And then as far as if people want to enter their foods into the competition, enter their dishes, what's the process or protocol to go about doing that?
Well, they just bring it. We'll be there from early, but they can bring it at 10. Just a small size so that we can dish it out for our judges. For the stew turtle, Cayman style beef, and the cassava cake. Cassava cake, just a small pan. We don't need anything big.
Okay, and with their name and their phone number on it.
Yeah.
Is there a maximum number of entries that are being submitted?
No maximum.
No maximum. Your judges are going to be
bring it all in.
Your judges are extremely happy right now.
Yep.
Because we were actually involved in a cassava cake competition last year, 2 years ago, and it was fun. The 3 entrants were very friendly about the whole scenario, and the judges were the judges' room was the best part of it, because watching the judges' faces as they went through each dish and I see them flavoring and tasting and kind of work out the flavors, and it was fun.
Well, for the food vendors, just to say that we've got Alvin's Kitchen and we've got Gigi's Kitchen in our main, our main tables, and Jazzy Cakes has got their own table, and then we have Willie's Fresh Fruits and Juices. So those are our 4 food, vendors or artisans, culinary artisans selling at the event. So anyway.
It's now. Are any of the museum pieces coming outside, or will all that still be inside to be viewed?
Oh, all of the exhibits inside are intact, but the museum has 10,000 objects, and they can only display a certain number at any time. Sure. And we also have objects that we use for educational purposes. So we have particular items like a fish pot. We have the cane press, the rope walk. What else, Brian?
Mr. Edney as well. He's going to be bringing some traditional items. He's going to be doing some traditional wheelers, toys, old-time toys. The maypole, platpole, and grindstone, just different old objects he's going to be bringing and displaying as well.
It's going to be a little bit of a heritage day in that regard. People will be able to, see active things going on.
Oh, that's great, though. But 31 years, it's a fantastic storyline to that. On that note, let's go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we will go over, because you have a full lineup of activities taking place throughout the whole day, and we want to hear all about it. Back with more talk today right after this.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
In 1895, the ship the Prince Frederick wrecked on the south coast of Cayman Brac, carrying the young sailor Samuel Sidney Saunders. Saunders would later choose to remain in the Sister Islands, eventually marrying into a Caymanian family. Although not highly educated himself, Saunders was instrumental to the education system of the Sister Islands, having taught in both Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. He would start a private school in Little Cayman, was district constable of the Sister Islands, and opened a school in Stake Bay following the 1932 storm. In the 1930s, the school was attended by Captain Charles Kirkernel. Ironically, Captain Kirkernel's father attended Saunders School in Little Cayman a generation earlier.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
It's the International Men's Day Island-wide sales event on Friday, November 19. Enjoy awesome savings and amazing deals from your favorite stores and service providers. Honor the positive contributions of men and boys while supporting local businesses in-store and online. Offers so incredible, you'll get something for the entire family. International Men's Day Island-wide sales event on Friday, November 19. Brought to you by the Family Resource Center and endorsed by the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce. Check out FRC's social media for a list of participating stores.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And again, pleased to have in the studio the very friendly group from the Cayman Islands National Museum, Dr. Peggy and Mr. Brian, here to talk about the 31st anniversary museum event this coming Saturday. So let's run through the logistics of the event so everyone knows times, dates, places, and where to be. Brian?
Yep, so it takes place this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2. It says 6 p.m., sorry. We usually do our events till 2 p.m. till 6 p.m. It's on the waterfront, Seafarers Way, Gorin Avenue. Want me to go through all the things that are going to be happening?
Please, yes.
All right, so we're going to start with some just traditional pipe music in the morning just to get people going, and then we're going to have the UCCI Pandemics. They're going to be serenading us with the steel pan for an hour, 11 to 12. And then from 12 to 12:30, we're going to do our official program where Dr. Peggy does her official welcome. We have our acting minister that does his greetings, and then we exchange the peppercorn lease. Miss Peggy can tell you about the peppercorn lease.
Do you know what the peppercorn lease is?
I'm going to learn all about it now.
Well, basically, we are so privileged to occupy the Old Courts building and have it as the National Museum. But it is the Old Courts House, and it is a government building. And they, in 1990... they agreed to lease it to the museum for 50 years for the payment of a peppercorn, which, is supposed to be like a nominal sum.
Absolutely.
And for us, it's a coil of thatch rope. Mm-hmm. So every year the museum pays the government a coil of thatch rope, and it actually comes from our collection. Mm-hmm. And the government, a government representative, usually the museum board chairman, presents it to the Minister of Culture. And then the Minister of Culture, talks about whether they think the museum's worthy or not, to be there, and we hope they do, and that they will celebrate us and everything. And so when we get it back, we put it back in the collection for another year, but we display it on the wall in the shop, and you can see it when you come through. So
that's a great story.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
We've been doing it for all this time.
Yeah. So, but it's the same rope that is actually every year gifted to the ministry and then given back.
Mm-hmm. It is.
So is that special crown thatch?
It's a very special coil of thatch rope. Mm-hmm.
Who made that coil of thatch?
I'm not sure.
We think we need to find that out.
Before my time.
Yes, we know. Yeah, we have to know exactly who that was.
That should be a contest. Someone can figure out who actually made that thatch, and that should be a contest.
I believe it comes from East End.
Yeah, it probably does. Yeah.
Okay. It's a beautiful coil of rope.
After 50 years, I'm hoping it. Absolutely. If it's been gifted this many times back and forth, it's like the crown jewel. Yeah. All right, so what else we have on the lineup?
Yep, so we have the Pandemics as well. They're going to be performing for us twice. Then we're going to have a book reading by Dr. Curtis Barnett for his new book, Caymanian Epics.
Yeah, he's got lots of stories, about Caymanians and seafaring stories and everything. He's very proud of it. He's we're also carrying that book in the shop. We bought a little stock of them, and we hope people will buy them and maybe have him sign them on that day.
That'd be great. So he'll be out there selling or signing the books, or doing a book signing rather.
He's going to be there.
He's going to be doing a book reading, so he'll be there if they wants to get their book signed.
That's fantastic.
His book reading is at 1:30. If you have a particular interest in hearing that.
For the families out there, I would like to see the families actually bring their kids out to hear those stories. Those are the stories that you want to hear, right?
Yep, and then we're going to go into the UCCI John Canoe performance. We're going to be bringing that back. I believe the last that was performed was in the 20s, 30s. Mr. Julius Rankin from East End revived that then. But before that, it was the Enslaved that would do it around Christmas time and New Year's Day. So UCCI is going to bring that back for us this year. They're going to debut the John Canoe at 2 p.m. on Saturday. And then again at 4. If you miss it at 2, you can come and see it at 4.
You want to tell them a little bit about the history of John Canoe?
I can take my notes.
We love history on Radio Cayman.
Yep. All right, so John Canoe Parade is said to have been first organized in 1921 by the late Julius Rankin of East End. And the main character of the Christmas John Canoe was a puppet of an old man stuffed with cloth, which we do have this year. We don't have the horse. But he would be paraded through the streets with bowing and shaking his head to bystanders. And small gifts such as apples, hats, candies, and clothes were given to the appreciative participants. So in later years, the John Canoe Parade consisted of an old man and a pregnant or buzzed woman who was really another man dressed in rag clothes and colored paper bag mask. And a large crowd usually followed behind them with graders, maracas, drums, just making noise, having a good time.
And the rendition of that dance is now UCCI putting this on.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone seen the UCCI rendition yet? Or is this the first time we're going to see this?
This is the first time they're going to see it.
We're going to see this rendition.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are actually characters in this?
They had about 20 UCCI students.
Oh, I didn't know it was that many.
So
I knew you were practicing yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I see them on Mondays and Wednesdays and on Saturdays.
When
what
they
time rehearse.
What time will that be taking place?
2 and 4. You're going to perform twice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right,
so early
afternoon, you can come out and hear the Caymanian Epic stories and then stay for the John Canoe Parade.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's just going to be lively, all day long with the steel pan, playing, for an hour from 11, and then after the official program from 12:30 again, and then later on, Mr. Earl LaPierre is going to be featured around about, after the John Canoe Parade, the first one.
Yeah.
So there's just, and then there's other things going on. Old Time Days Reflection.
Yeah, so we're going to open it up to the public, and memories you have of the old times. I know Mr. Alvin has a lot of stories and he's probably going to want to share. But yeah, just reflecting on the old times. So we're going to open that up to whoever's there.
Exactly.
That's really creative. Actually, give the community their own chance to actually say their story.
Mm-hmm.
That's really awesome.
What to remember, yeah.
That's really cool. And then I see catboat ride race.
Catboat rides, we were having catboat rides, but because of the COVID restrictions, they were saying, for 2 hours, they would have probably only gotten 8 participants. So they decided they would have a static display. So they're still going to have a static display.
Okay. At least it'll be displayed.
Yeah. And then the UCCI are going to be back again at 4:45. They're going to do their Christmas jive. They're debuting a new dance as well. And then the K Energy Band has Vashti Bodden and some some band members of the Trade Winds. They're also going to be...
That's going to be super.
Yeah, performing for an hour, 5 to 6. They're going to close us out.
But before that, we've also got our famous Cayman Islands folk singers, from the CNCF. They're at 3:45. And I saw them perform recently at the Harkwell. They put on a special show. Don't know, if you got to see it, but it was really excellent. I mean, they were all. I mean, it was just wonderful. And they're coming out and they're going to share all that with us. And just to let you know, I mean, there's artisans performing and so forth. But again, we are stressing government protocols for safety and that sort of thing. So UCCI is taking those for the schools. I know when the folk singers were preparing for their concert in recent times that they practiced with their masks on, and then they do certain testing, and then they work together.
Sure.
So just in the background, know that these people are being responsible. In terms of taking safety measures for it.
That's reassuring because there are people in the community who are always concerned about, rightfully so.
Yes,
safety
absolutely.
procedures, safety protocols, and. You mentioned the folk singers. I did get a chance. My colleague and I emceed the CNCF Awards earlier this year.
Oh, okay.
And we had a pleasure of seeing them and perform. And
they're super.
They're fantastic.
They're super. And when they had the thing recently, they had images in the background and play-like things going on, theater as well. And it was just, and backstories going on, about the man who was writing his letters home and never came home to marry the girl. And then finally, when he did come home, they both married somebody else. I mean, it was fun.
On a complete side note, we really do appreciate, especially our listeners do appreciate, this level of history that the museum brings to the table. And I guess the community itself as a whole, the fact that you've opened up the microphone to the community to share their story, that is so empowering and so powerful in itself to have Grandma come up on stage and share her story to the community. And it's because so many people have very similar stories, but they're slightly varied. To have the seafarers share their stories and their opportunity to speak on Seafarers Way for the first time, it's an amazing opportunity. Thanks again for putting it on.
I'll bet you'll hear a lot of stories. I mean, like with the static displays of the cat boat, you're going to go and talk to the guys from the cat boat club, and they're gonna bend your ear a bit, And
you're gonna have a waiting list for speakers.
You're
right.
You're gonna have a whole different argument on your hands, trying to tell which person they can get up there. No, but I do love that you've had this really comprehensive scenario from the local artisans, the local food vendors. 3 different food competitions, which I think I love that in itself. Obviously the tradition, the exhibits that you're putting out on display, there's a lot there.
And then there's there's 6 particular traditional artisans, because we've had to, with thatch and that sort of thing. And then there's other specialty vendors offering the variety of the products. Brian, you want to share some of the...
So some of our traditional artisans, we have Mr. Deal Ebanks. He's going to be there with his gigs and some traditional games. Miss Carleen Carter, Miss Rosemary Ebanks, Miss Margaret Ebanks, and Miss Reba Mandison. They're all thatch vendors. And
buy Christmas presents. Everybody wants to buy their Christmas presents.
I told Miss Reba I need a wide brim hat, so she has a wide brim hat for me on Saturday. And then Papa Gerlo, he's going to be there doing rope making, net making, and wampas. He's going to be making wampas. So
and that's new. I mean,
Yeah, we've never had anyone there doing wampas.
Is he going to sell it wampers?
I'm sure he's probably going to sell some wampers.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Folks, I really do appreciate coming to share this event. And if you're out in the community, if you have some time, I know there's a lot going on this weekend for events, but definitely make a stop at the National Museum. Goring Avenue and Seafarers Way will be closed down to accommodate the outdoor portion of the event. So that's this coming Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Very quickly, Brian, you run through the whole list again as fast as you can.
Okay, go through this again.
There's a lot here.
All right. So we're going to have the UCCI Pandemics. They're going to be performing some steel pan. We're going to have our official welcome, greeting, thanks, remarks by our acting minister. We're going to have book reading by Mr. Curtis Barnett for his Caymanian Epics book. We're going to have a John Canoe performance. We're going to have Old Time Days reflection segment. We're going to have the folk singers, cultural display and competition, the stew turtle, Kimmel Sal beef and cassava cake, and ending with the K Energy Band performing live for us.
Soka, soka,
soka. And all the best to all of you that are participating in the event, and to all the people that enter into the food competitions. Yeah. All the best. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Brian. Thank you, Dr. Peggy. I appreciate you coming in.
Thank you so much. We've had a great time.
Thank you. Again, that's this coming Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Goring Avenue and Seafarers Way. On that note, we're going to go to our 1:30 commercial break. When we come back, we'll be sitting down with the teams from Doctors Hospital and Health City just to get their updates on where they're at with the 2021. Back when we're talking today, right after this.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands, the ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom, the land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
At Subway, we caramel a lot about our customers, so we decided to give you 2 treats in one with the new Caramel Apple Cookie. Enjoy cinnamon apples, caramel bits, and salted caramel crunch baked in, and topped with a drizzle of caramel-flavored icing. Gooey, crunchy, and yummy. Complete your Subway sandwich, pizza, or salad with the delicious Caramel Apple Cookie or any other cookie flavor and dessert, available for a limited time at all Subway locations. Subway, eat fresh.
We may be in Christmas shopping mode, but 'tis the flu season too. Savannah Pharmacy has immune system boosters for the entire family with a range of vitamins and supplements. Their knowledgeable and courteous pharmacists are always available to offer the best advice and products. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
You can now register online to receive a securely verified digital copy of your COVID-19 vaccination status with QR code through the My HSA patient portal. Sign up is available online and at all HSA locations. All you need is your photo ID showing date of birth and an email address. Visit hsa.ky and click the My HSA patient portal icon to get started.
Prospect residents are invited to a free vaccination clinic by the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Sabrina Turner, Thursday, November 18th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at her constituency office at number 33 Marina Drive, Prospect. For more information on the vaccination clinic, call 746-9314.
Here's where you can get your Rotary Music Extravaganza tickets to win $40,000 and more. Rotary members, authorized ticket sellers, eventpro.ky, A.L. Thompson's Home Depot, Funky Tanks, Rubis Walkers Road, supermarkets across Cayman, and Rotarian past President Annie Rose Scott in Cayman Brac. Here is more on how your support through your Rotary Music Extravaganza ticket works for our community. $10,000 to support reintegration, education, and employment through the Department of Community Rehabilitation and Her Majesty's Prison Service. $3,000 supporting the National Drug Council Arrive Alive 345 campaign. Support for the Community Bus Shelter Program, including Cayman Brac. Community service at its best. Funding over 70 projects since 1995. Rotary Music Extravaganza. Your ticket, your chance. Rotary Central Cayman Islands. Registered not-for-profit number 232. Rotary Central. Serve the change lives.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. I'm very pleased to have in studio 2 of our resident doctors here in Cayman, one from Doctors Hospital, one from Health City. We have Dr. Rado from Doctors Hospital and Dr. Krishnan from Health City. Good afternoon and welcome to Talk Today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for coming in. Are you excited to be here?
Yes, very.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us.
No, thank you. So the reason we decided to pull the segment together, we had Dr. Lee on the show on Tuesday. And just doing the update on where we are living with COVID. Obviously, we know we have a 3 p.m. press conference today and getting some updates. But you're representing 2 different private hospitals and the work that you have done over the past 2 years, really, year and a half, if we look at last March. And where we've come from last March 2020 to November 2021, roughly 18 months. It's a long time, but it's flown by and we've had these up and downs and just... It's been a wild ride for many in the community. So from yourselves, just get a little bit of color and context. If you don't mind, Dr. Redo, tell us a bit about yourself, where you're from, what your role is with Doctors Hospital.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm originally born in Germany. Did my residency there, my training, and then came 2005 to the island, worked for Georgetown Hospital for a while. Then moved over to Dr. Tomlinson, and then led a group of doctors and other investors who bought the hospital of Dr. Tomlinson, and we renamed it to Doctors Hospital, and I'm the chairman of the board of Doctors Hospital and the chief radiologist.
What year was that roughly?
6 years ago, I think.
6 years ago. And chief of radiology now. Have you always been the chief of radiology? Since the past 6 years?
Yes.
Was that also your focus before you joined the hospital here?
Yes. Okay. So I came as a specialist radiologist in 2005 and have been driving all the new cool stuff that we have here. The 3T MRI that we run at Georgetown Hospital, the digital mammography I brought in then at the time with Dr. Yin in the Cancer Society to Georgetown Hospital. Then the 3D mammography. Now we have a 512 slice CT. We have a new MRI coming. So
it's a lot of, what do you call it? New cool stuff? Is that what you called it?
That's new cool stuff.
New cool stuff. You see the smile on your face? New toys are coming on island.
No. It's the equipment we have is you cannot spend more money and get something better. It's the end of the line. So also where I come from in Germany, we don't have that in Germany, what we have here.
Really?
Or only like at the top university centers.
Sure.
They have like one of them. But then they have like one CT like this, and then maybe 10 other CTs. Here we have one CT, and it's a 512 size dual energy. Or we have the 3T at Georgetown Hospital. Or the 3D mammography.
Sure.
We had that. We had the 3D mammography the moment it was FDA approved in, I think it was 2013. So in Germany they were going from analog to digital. And we were already going the next generation.
That's impressive that you see that level of technical capabilities here in Cayman. We've heard like the criticisms at times of they have to fly off to Miami to get this done or fly off to this jurisdiction, but
the opposite is true. I think, and we're here because I think the main question is how have we fared over the pandemic, and
but by all means,
and so far, and this is the segue in actually. I think that what we are doing is first world medicine. You can compare us to the best centers in the United States. In the scope of what we are doing. So if you have an appendicitis, you have a gallbladder disease or a hernia, or you have even a stroke. We have a neurologist now, so we will start a stroke center soon. We have a new oncologist from Texas. We have a urologist from Leeds and Oxford. So we have the medicine that we are doing aims to be similar to what you get in the best centers in the first world.
That's fantastic. That level of that capability is just all in one small melting pot. The medical tourism field, right? This is exactly the segue.
Krishnan and I while we were waiting outside, we looked. You have the little Caribbean map there, and you have this little tiny island, and we look at it and say, like, this is actually not the Caribbean. This is the amount of healthcare we have and the quality of healthcare we have available on the island is spectacular, and I think. And people are always talking about medical tourism.
Yes.
And I'm always joking. I said we have negative medical tourism. All of our patients go to Miami. So to have the borders locked actually meant that they could enjoy the healthcare that we can provide. And I think that has changed the overall appreciation of what they have available.
No, I'm glad to hear you segue into that medical tourism. You're right. We did start the segment talking about the COVID situation, where everyone's come, but the reality is this is a field that's going to be needed. It's a field that's going to be needed forever. And it's going to continue to evolve and grow. And the fact that we're seeing this level of capabilities on the island, better for our residents and eventually better for the tourism scenario, theoretically, when borders reopen on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, absolutely.
And also, a magnet for the people who can choose where they want to live. The first thing they ask is, what is the medical care available?
Sure.
Yeah. So that's, I think it's also very important for the growth of the island.
Sure.
Everybody looks at this and says like, yeah, well, until you need a doctor, you don't really look into the capabilities, but it's part of the infrastructure of an island.
Sure.
And I think the infrastructure we have is quite good. We were talking about it just before, about the amount of beds we have available and ICU beds we have available for COVID patients.
Yes.
And we have double the amount that you have available in the United States. And that is double the amount that the next country in the world has. So
double the amount per capita, you mean?
Per capita.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, well, otherwise.
Yes, I was going to say. I was going to say, wow, we got a lot of beds. No, we had Dr. Lee in the show the other day. He actually we discussed the level, the number of beds we have, and potential for if the temporary hospital should need to be open for whatever reason, the volume of beds that we have. And I believe you had mentioned we're very low on the capacity of what's being used right now for available beds.
Yes, and the capacity we have is extraordinary, number one. The amount of vaccinations on island is extraordinary.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you can see it now. When you see the infection rates, they are very high.
Sure.
Per capita, we're leading the world. I don't know that's something necessarily to be proud of, but that's how the Delta variant goes. But we do not yet, knock on wood, see those numbers being reflected in the hospitalization rate.
That's ultimately that we're looking for, right? That's what we're looking for, is that at the end of the day is that one end doesn't reflect on the other end.
I have to call you out. I'm sorry, I can't bite
Can't
my
do that,
tongue.
right? Said. But Dr. Christian.
So you need to get vaccinated.
We all do, right?
Yeah.
So Dr. Christian, jumping over to Health City now.
Yeah. I graduated and did all my studies in India.
Okay.
I've been with the Narayana Group and Dr. Shetty since 2005 till 2013, and briefly for a couple of years I was in United Kingdom. I did my advanced fellowship in cardiothoracic transplants in Newcastle before I got here. And from 2014, since the conception or start of the hospital, I've been with Health City. I'm a cardiac anesthesiologist, basically. I head the Department of Anesthesia and Intensive Care at Health City. And from 2018, I also look after the administrative part. I am the medical director there. I oversee the quality initiatives and quality controls of Health City there.
How do you find going from the medicine part to the administrative part?
And it's good. I mean, we are cusp in between the clinician and the admin. So I sort of oversee the quality indicators and see the key performance indicators of different clinicians, the discharge rates and a lot of infection parameters. So we monitor close to 60, 70 parameters in the hospital, in different departments and different wards, and make sure we are up to the mark, and we benchmark it and we publish our results as well.
Okay. Good for you all. I mean, so leading off with Dr. Rado, we talk about and we'll jump to the COVID conversation in a moment, but the level of healthcare that Cayman has on offer, or that has available. We talk about the equipment that's available, the level of doctors and expertise we have, the world-renowned doctors that are coming here, and we have this high level. Where do you see Health City in 5 years and 10 years? And then where do you see the industry of tourism, medical tourism, in 5 years and 10 years?
I mean, definitely the medical standards or the standards of healthcare has scaled up quite drastically over the last couple of years or last 4 or 5 years. And we are also in a major expansion mode. Like we have got a clinic come up in Kamana Bay. We've got RT-PCR center which has come up, and we also have acquired lateral flow test sort of to get the country into the next phase when we reopen the borders on Saturday, we're looking at pitching in and supporting whatever we can in terms of lateral flow tests for the passengers and the tourists and the residents on the island. We are sort of looking at acquiring a robot, surgical robot, probably in a couple of months to have the high-end cancer surgeries which can be done with robot. And we also have announced our new hospital in Kamana Bay. It's a 60-odd bedded hospital with the sort of next phase of expansion. It'll have the neonatal intensive care unit and the obstetrics.
At the Kamana Bay location?
Yes. And we also have a radiotherapy center for the comprehensive cancer care, like right from the different modalities of cancer care can be given under one roof. Like radiotherapy, the medical or the chemotherapy infusions, if you have to do a surgery for a cancer, we can do all of that in one roof or in one hospital. And we are looking at having a bone marrow transplant unit soon, after the hospital is sort of kicked off.
Wow.
That's where we are at Health City.
That's quite a bit. So we talk about the level of the technical capability that you've brought in, that level of machine 3D, I'm going to say it wrong, mammography.
For example, yes.
Yes. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, all right.
Yes,
and then we have the surgical robots now. I mean, that level of technology, and granted, it is 2021, so we're going to see these levels, but we had the museum on the show earlier, and they were talking about their event this coming weekend. It's not too long ago that we were using thatch rope as a regular means of, not that long ago at all, and now we're talking about surgical robots and 3D mammography.
Yeah, for example, we actually are getting a radiotherapy center as well.
Are you really?
Yes. So
now, does that involve, so when you talk about surgical robots, is that somewhere you're actually controlling the robot from outside the room? Or is
yes.
it like a...
It's a console, it's a surgical console.
Okay.
There are a lot of advantages of having a surgical robot. You can have access to the deeper parts of the perineum or in the abdomen if you have to do a surgery for a gynec cancer or for a urologic cancer.
Sure.
There's a limit up to which you can go with a laparoscopic procedure. But with a surgical robot, you can be very precise and accurate with the tumor clearance, so you have more complete resection. So the quality of care or the recurrence rates are lesser when you do with surgical robots.
It's wild. Robots.
And if you think about it, about where we come from as an island, as you say, doing thatched rope, we are now competing. Our city and us are competing about leading the modern medicine wave that is available only to at the end of the First World.
Sure.
And the island has come an incredible way.
It has. I was in a meeting not too long ago and someone mentioned that Cayman punch is really far above its weight in terms of its size. And when we talk about hallelujah, absolutely correct. And this level and this conversation and just the depth of this conversation, you mentioned we're at the tip of the first world of medicine and medical health care. And we've just started scratching the surface of the potential for what the industry here can do over the coming generations. So kudos to both of you and the work that you're doing. When we come back, we'll will delve into the COVID conversation and the roller coaster ride of the past 18 months for both of your respective hospitals after this commercial break. Back with more talk today right after this.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
Savannah Pharmacy. Shop local and get a head start on your Christmas shopping. For ladies' handbags, clothes, shoes, fragrance, candles, and cosmetics with the newest Farmhouse Fresh line of skincare. For the gentlemen, clothes, shoes, fragrances, gift sets, and toys and games for the kids. Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs. And convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
Do you know how well your pension plan performed?
Attend the Chamber Pension Plan's annual general meeting to stay informed and find out how you can achieve your desired retirement lifestyle. Members are invited to meet our trustees and take part in our question and answers segment on 1st December 2021 at 6:30 p.m. at the Chamber of Commerce Boardroom in Governors Square. Refreshments will be served. Please visit our website chamberpension.ky or email admin@pensions.ky for further details. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
The Cayman National Cultural Foundation is pleased to present My Art is My Life, an exhibition of the intuitive art of Cayman's own visionary, Miss Lassie. Visit Miss Lassie's home, located at the intersection of Walkers Road and South Sound Road at the Mind's Eye Education Center, to view these beautiful and inspired works of art. November 5th through the 13th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Admission is free, but donations are appreciated. Call 949-5477 or visit artscayman.org for more information. Made possible by the Ministry of Culture.
If, like me, you are 50 years and older, if you're a healthcare worker, or you're most at risk from COVID-19, and if you have received your second dose at least 6 months ago, then you are now eligible to receive your third dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. The COVID-19 vaccine is the best way to protect yourself, your loved ones, and our whole community. It is proven to be safe and effective, and our doctors stand behind the vaccine. Why? Because it works. And it will save lives. So please, get vaccinated, and let's keep working together to protect the ones we love. For more information, you can visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus, and you'll learn some more.
Get your running shoes on, ruffle your tail feathers, and prepare to work off that extra helping of turkey dinner while giving back in a big way this Thanksgiving season. Registration is now open for the 6th annual Meals on Wheels 5K Turkey Trot Fundraising Run Walk. Whether you run, jog, walk, waddle, or trot, come get active with us on Saturday, November 20th, starting and ending at Grand Ole House, South Church Street. Registration is open to all ages. Join our sponsors: Davenport Development, McAlpine, Grand Ole House, Western Resort, Progressive Distributors, Cafe Del Sol, and Radio Cayman as they support Meals on Wheels in the fight to end senior hunger in the Cayman Islands. Register today online at www.mealsonwheels.ky or call 769-1974 for more information. See you at the start line.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks in just about 7 minutes until our 2 p.m. headline news. And a reminder, there is a press conference today at 3 p.m., which will be carried live on Radio Cayman. In case you're just tuning in, I'm pleased to have in studio again Dr. Rado from Doctors Hospital and Dr. Krishnan from Health City. Thank you again for joining us today on Talk Today. And we had a bit of the, not a competition, but the sharing of where both hospitals have been at with their recent investments in technology and the upgrades they've made to the equipment. And off air just now, we were briefly just kind of going through just the cost volume of what it costs to bring in the equipment, to maintain the equipment, to just ensure that you always have this highly functioning hospitals. And again, kudos to both of your teams for the work they've done at Doctors Hospital and Health City. But now jumping into today's main conversation, which is the COVID situation, where we've come in 18 months. Dr. Rado, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
So at Doctors Hospital, 18 months ago, you were looking at one series of way of operating. How has that changed in 18 months for you?
Yeah, we had, when COVID came with that tourist from Italy on the cruise ship, we were quite lucky because we were prepared. We knew it was coming. I'd been reading the news from what was happening in China at the time, and a very close friend, Raul Pahl, who on his birthday party told me that's the big one. I said, nah, it's just the flu. And he's like, no, you will see, that's the big one. And so we actually had a plan in the drawer already, waiting for the first case to happen, and were very quick. We built a perimeter around the hospital, checked everyone who goes in and out, and tested them. We were very fast with getting our testing capability up. We started to work on that immediately as well, and could help the island a lot at the time, and I think we are quite well known for that on island, for our PCR testing and what that changed in the available response of government to take care of COVID. And that empowered us very early to keep the hospital COVID-free. So we, which kind of is, for me, very weird, because we are in the middle of a pandemic. We are in year 2, and I have not seen a COVID patient.
That's a knock on wood moment.
Knock on wood. Obviously, now this is changing now, but the hospital, all of our staff is vaccinated. Everybody gets tested every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Every patient who comes in for an elective surgery gets tested before. So we have been, again, knocking on wood. Can't have enough wood on that one. We have been, and people told me before, it's like you will never manage to keep the hospital COVID free, but so far we have been able to do so, and so we are kind of the rock. Georgetown Hospital has done a spectacular job in looking after COVID patients.
Absolutely, yes.
Health City has helped there as well, and our job is kind of to stay the clean room.
Sure. Thank you for sharing that. Same question to you, Dr. Christian. As far as the 18 months ago, obviously, when we had the first case that came off the cruise ship, Health City was quick to jump in and to assist where they could. How has things changed and evolved for you in the past 18 months?
It has changed dramatically. Like Dr. Ara told, we were prepared. We had set up protocols. We did some training with whatever the knowledge was evolving.
Sure.
So at that time in March 2020, February, March, whatever information we had on literature, based on that we had devised some training protocols. And we had checked about triage, how to triage patients who come from cruise, how to do all of that. And we didn't have RT-PCR, mind you, at that point in the island. So we just went by respiratory symptoms, and whatever symptoms which were sort of showing towards COVID, we would isolate them and treat them till we are fine, and then only we take them off. But we, fortunately or unfortunately, we happened to have the first patient, the Italian cruise patient, who got admitted to Health City, and then he tested positive quite late. Once we sort of doubted that he had these symptoms, we sent the swabs and it went to Trinidad, and by the time it came back, it was 5 days later. And then we went on contact isolation, tracing of the staff and other patients who were involved, and then we also sort of had to take a big decision to shut down the hospital for both emergency and elective procedures for 2 weeks. And we put quite a lot of staff on isolation, the doctors, the physiotherapists, the technicians, the nurses, all of them. And we also had a couple of positive staff members who were isolated, and sort of we had to give support psychologically and otherwise to take care of them. And from there, it's been a huge journey, and we have learned as we have evolved, and then all the protocols to the PPE. We had shortage of PPE, how we sort of stage managed and got a load of PPE from China, to how our equipment, the hospital was divided, sort of bifurcated into clean or unclean or COVID or non-COVID patients. We made a lot of changes where the immunosuppressed or the cancer patients who come in for chemotherapy don't need to come through the main bay or the main corridor. We opened up some fire exits closer to the chemo infusion room, so we had a questionnaire they would fill, check the temperature. If everything's fine, they have a chemo infusion there, and then they leave the hospital. They don't need to go through the main corridor. So we did a lot of changes accordingly, and then we have learned in the last 1.5 years. And we also spoke to Public Health England officials who had come in that time to see how our contact tracing was and what all we did and our evidence, and it was all up to the mark. And we were quite happy the way we contained the situation for the hospital and the staff and the community at large. We learned quite a lot of things that time.
It's impressive. We have to go to a commercial break, but thank you. It's amazing how the learning curve, we kind of forget where we were a year and a half ago. That's why this conversation is so important. A year and a half ago, as you mentioned, we didn't know. You were sending off swabs to get checked out in Trinidad, coming back 5 days later, and then trying to figure out how to make a decision. Now we have a lateral flow test that you learn your response in 15-30 minutes and can then make your more educated responses. And so it's amazing how far we've come in that year and a half. When we come back after our 2 p.m. headline news, I just want to delve in more into like what you've learned in the past year and a half and what changed. Obviously, the changes you made a year and a half ago, but what does that mean for what you've learned for moving forward? Be back with more talk today right after this.
Radio Cayman.
The voice.
The heart. The soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. International Men's Day is tomorrow, November 19th. In honor of the day, Dress for a Cause is on Friday. Businesses and the community may get involved by purchasing an IMD shirt from the Family Resource Centre, organizing a dress down day within their own entity, and where possible, making a donation to the FRC. In international news, a 5-day-old baby girl who was rescued from a drain where she was left to die in the Indian city of Mumbai is recovering in a local hospital. Doctors at the hospital told the BBC that she was doing fine and her health was being monitored. Police said residents found the baby after a group of cats gathered at a spot along the road and began creating a ruckus. Officials are investigating how she ended up in the drain. A state of emergency has been declared in the Canadian western province of British Columbia after a major storm cut road and rail links in the region. The Canadian Armed Forces have been deployed to help thousands of stranded residents who have been trapped since the storm hit overnight on Sunday. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau pledged assistance during a visit to Washington, D.C., and said troops would help rebuild. 1 woman was killed in a landslide and 2 people are missing. More than 125 people who were caught up in the deadly Astroworld Music Festival crush have sued rapper Travis Scott and other organizers for $750 million. The family of Axel Acosta, one of the 10 victims, are among those bringing the legal case in the U.S. It claims Scott and guest star Drake kept performing despite accounts of, quote, lifeless bodies being passed through the crowd in full view of the stage. These are your latest headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and an engaging conversation on the progression in medical care over the past year and a half of COVID being here in Grand Cayman, or in the Cayman Islands altogether. Before the break, we were discussing some of the changes and evolution that each of the hospitals had to go through. And Dr. Krishna, you mentioned the sending off of swabs. And I had forgotten that when this whole situation started back in March of 2020, we were sending swabs off to get checked off island and then waiting the 5-day period for them to come back before making any kind of decision on how to proceed and cordoning off wings and separating patients from other patients. It's just amazing to see, because we kind of forget how this whole evolution happened and how quickly it went in March 2020 to where it was in May of 2020. And that 2-month gap was quite a lot of change that had happened. Dr. Redo, heading back to you and some of the learning curves that you've learned along the way. Are you able to share some of that experience and some of the changes from the early days of the PCR and how we've come to where we are today?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the PCR testing, we didn't have any experience in that at all. So we had to buy this all in for a very, very expensive amount of money. We were talking about this just before.
Yes, no, absolutely.
Millions of dollars.
It's impressive.
That we had to invest into it. And that is on the one hand. On the other hand, you were competing in this field, not on island, but with the world. I don't know if you recall how everybody was trying to get test kits down here.
That's right. We were trying to get them in. Wasn't there a blockade on one of our shipments, and they had to negotiate
to
get our shipment in from the U.S.?
Yes. They wouldn't let it out. And so we actually had hired Joe and Frank, and Joe actually is comes out of the automotive industry. and out of the Toyota mindset of having a supply chain in place that brings everything in just when you need it. So people said, we kept on getting the question, how many test kits do you have? Sure, yeah. But we didn't have test kits. We still don't have test kits. We have 52 pieces of usables, of fluids, of swabs, of pipettes, of pipette heads, of plates that need to be at the right time at the right place, and it's like a 1,000 horsepower engine that you're running and running and running, and you bring it up, and you every time you bring another iteration in, everything the level has to rise on all levels at the same time. So, for example, that's something when I think it was 3 weeks ago when suddenly everybody wanted to get tested. Yes. Yeah. And people looked at me, and we were waiting for some fluid to come, and it's called the lysis buffer. I think it's $80 for a bottle, and the bottle will last us usually for a week. There's no problem in getting it. It's in a medical lab kind of supermarket that's on the shelf. Sure. But you need to get it in time. Yeah. And then we got overrun so much. We had this lysis buffer coming in, and it took a while to clear customs. And when it then finally came, people were already saying, are we going to open tomorrow or not? And I got the call that the lysis buffer is there, and I called off everyone and said, we're good. Then I got another call. It's the wrong buffer. So then it took us.
It's not funny, but
then it took us.
Laugh at it.
But the thing is, it's like it doesn't say wrong buffer on it. It says lysis buffer HM3, and our lab tech looked at it and says like, we were using DM2 before. Can we use HM3? So then we had to look it up and find out what it is. So we called. But it was in the middle of the night here. We needed to know in the morning if we can do it or not. Then we called in Australia because we're working closely with some guys from Australia. They have, so we have knowledge transfer there. Luckily, it was daylight there, so somebody of the company was available on the phone, so they could do the research until they came back in the morning telling us, no, you cannot use it.
And after all that.
Yeah, but we had reached out to HSA, and they said, yes, we have. I think we have some of that. So at 9 o'clock in the morning, they brought over like 2 bottles that they found
in their back.
And so we then had to start. Running. It was not exactly. This was not HM2 or DM3. This was HM5. So which you could use, but then it meant because you needed to retest the whole process, which cost you another 2 or 3 hours to make sure and prove that your process is actually working, and that was all happening at the height of we were doing 1,000 tests a day. And you have it's like I felt like Captain Kerr calling into the engine room, I need 130%, and you don't, and they come back and say, we can do 50%. I need 130%.
I need warp speed. I don't need to start the process again. It's amazing, that learning curve. Like you mentioned, like the supply chain management of needing everything in place when you need it, and then what happens if one kink in the chain happens? And this was all happening literally in real time. This was 1,000 tests a day. I give you all credit. I mean, that's an incredible scenario to come through that relatively unscathed. Nobody came through the past year and a half unscathed. There was mistakes made across the board from everybody, learning curves. And the fact that you've all been able to come through that's why we're doing this show.
Yeah, but I think, to be honest, when you look at it in hindsight, I don't think too many mistakes were made.
No, good.
No, honestly, and because you have to appreciate that this was new to everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we were all hanging on the publications, and you have this discussion with ivermectin. Yeah, I don't know, the anti-vaxxers all the time want to bring up ivermectin. Why don't we have ivermectin? Ivermectin was given a shot for a time and then was proven not to work. And the ground changes constantly.
Absolutely.
We had the
Chloroquine.
antibodies that you can use, but then you can't get them because the whole world wants to have these antibodies. Now you have the new pill from Pfizer and from Merck.
Sure.
We are struggling. We're trying to get those pills in.
Trying to keep up,
trying to get those pills in. The
I've heard
whole
cost
world
of them,
wants them.
Yeah. I've heard the cost of them are quite
and it's expensive.
It's
of
expensive.
course.
I've heard the cost
and,
factor, yeah.
And the antibodies, for example, have a shelf life of 2 to 3 months. So why don't you bring you don't bring it in? And it's like you're talking about tens. You saw what the pharmacy ordered from yesterday. Yeah. So you get that stuff in.
Yep.
And it lies on your shelf. We were so lucky to be completely COVID free, and you have something that is hundreds of thousands of dollars that's going to be worthless in 3 months. And you don't want to use it. And you don't get it. Yeah. It's like, even if you want to have it, we were trying to get the antibodies in ourselves. They don't even talk to us because we're not a governmental hospital.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, this is completely above everybody's pay grade. Yeah,
of course.
You need the governor to make a call and say, my island needs this. Yeah, and they say, oh, we'll listen to you then.
You've just said it. Yeah, no, usually they will.
Yeah, they do.
Usually they will, yes.
Yes, they do.
So, Dr. Christian, same question to yourself. Learning and what you've learned, great point you mentioned, the floor keeps moving on us. Like that's not the goalposts keep moving. The floor keeps moving. So with that, things change, things evolve. How has Health City adapted? What have you learned over the past year and a half?
I mean, it's not just Health City and the doctors there. It's everybody generally on the island, right from lay person to clinicians. Everybody learned, and then sort of we kept moving a goalpost based on whatever evidence was given or whatever public health guidelines were or the CMO's orders. So we also got into this convalescent plasma, thinking this antibodies from somebody who's had COVID before, who's asymptomatic, would help somebody else who really needs, who's in intensive care or on ventilator. So we tried that, and we were sort of getting ready to have that done, but so far we didn't have to do for anybody. Then the evidence went away. They told it may or may not help it, or it's probably not beneficial. Then we got into the antibodies, got the COVID kits to test the antibodies to see if somebody had COVID or has got enough antibodies in them. The same way, a lot of evidence and medicines, as and when there was evidence which came by, we got in, and then everybody and everything had proved that it's only the PPE, the N95 mask and your protective equipment that is going to help you. Mm-hmm. And the more closer you stay to a patient who's COVID positive or who's highly infective, the more important that you practice hand hygiene and wear the PPE. That's when the world over, everybody wanted to have the PPE, and China, companies from China were not exporting PPEs because the government had put a ban.
Right, yes.
And we also tried to get our PPs, and we got into problems various locations. Finally, it was with government and Health City, we did a joint venture, and we got a 30,000 load of PPs onto the island. But it was short of a movie. We got it from there, and then it landed in South America somewhere. Then we got it to Jamaica, and from Jamaica we had to get it to Cayman Islands. It was that, and I think we sort of helped, and we got enough PPs that way. And then the monoclonal antibodies or the Lighty cocktail, I think that's what is being advised for people who are at risk of developing severe disease, moderate to severe disease.
Okay.
But 1 to 10 days after they have proven to be RT-PCR positive. So hopefully today evening or tomorrow morning we'll get a load of Lighty cocktail. We're trying to get that because that has proven that it will prevent hospitalization. If you give it to a patient who's got all the risk factors for developing moderate to severe disease, and if you know that he's got RT-PCR positive things. So hopefully that way we also sort of get in this one. And ivermectin, chloroquine, all of that, different pharma companies and different literature had told that it is helpful, it is not helpful. So at various stages we have lulled and mulled about getting something or the other.
So wow, you hear the story, like trying to sort out the solution that you needed to make your PCR test work, trying to sort out how to get PPEs on island, and 5 different countries involved, and a logistical nightmare to get that in after China shuts down their supply chain. And that's the conversation that's been left out, I think, of so much. And we had Dr. Lee again on the show on Tuesday, and he mentioned that He's lived and breathed and eaten COVID for the past year and a half that he dreams about COVID. Do you find the same thing? Do you dream about it?
Everybody were encyclopedia in COVID. I mean, the amount of literature and forwards and WhatsApp messages we would get about COVID is phenomenal. Public Health England has got a guideline for 200 pages. We've gone through it. And then after 1 week, they update the version.
They update?
So you go through another 200 pages of that. WHO changes their guidelines. CDC were coming out with their guidelines. Dr. Fauci was giving his comments, and then again everybody runs behind and then tries to get whatever is the latest evidence and guidelines which have come up.
And then you have all the new medications that are coming out, and you mentioned all the different... And on top of all that, you still have a hospital to run.
Yes.
Let's not forget the fact there's still hospitals involved, and there's all this new equipment and all the new projects that you're still working on. It's amazing that you're able to keep up. It's a lot of coffee, I'm assuming. You're a coffee drinker.
You can do it IV.
You would know. You're in the field.
No, it's actually very funny. I actually, when this all happened with the solutions being messed up, I actually had my wife had a baby.
Congratulations.
So that was extra. So
most people go through the baby factor.
Sleeping is overrated.
You would know.
I know.
You would know. That's a lot to take on, but congratulations on fatherhood. On that note, let's go to our last commercial break of the show. When we come back, we'll be wrapping up our segment with our two doctors from Health City and Doctors Hospital. Back with more talk today, right after this.
We may be in Christmas shopping mode, but 'tis the flu season too. Savannah Pharmacy has immune system boosters for the entire family with a range of vitamins and supplements. Their knowledgeable and courteous pharmacists are always available to offer the best advice and products. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
Park your car this New Year's Eve and ride the Purple Ribbon Bus. It's free. Be safe and drink responsibly.
Arrive alive 345. Take the pledge, designate a driver, or ride the Purple Ribbon Bus on New Year's Eve. This message is brought to you by the National Drug Council and Radio Cayman.
20 years.
Remember when Crew Road had no median and Linford Pearson was only 2 lanes?
We do.
When Dirty Reeds was down the street?
We do.
We have been there for the falls, the growth, and the rise. When your body and mind needed to change, Powerhouse Gym has been here. We've skated with you. Your first date, your daughter's first time on skates, your son's first strike. From football to squash, to karate and hockey, to bowling and concerts, and everything in between.
For 20 years,
so much has changed, some for the good and some not so much. Through it all, King Sports Center has been here for you, for Cayman.
King Sports Center, celebrating 20 years as Cayman's home for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
On Tuesday, November 23rd, some customers on South Church Street, South Sound Road, and in Secret and Hidden Gardens on Fairbanks Road may experience short, intermittent interruptions to their electrical service between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. CUC apologizes for these service interruptions, which are necessary for repairs to the transmission system. For more information, contact 949-5200 or email service@cuc.ky.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Did you know that you must discard fresh fruits and vegetables, meats, foods in canisters,
dented, leaking, or rusting cans after they have come in contact with floodwater? For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And if you're just tuning in for our show, we are very pleased again to have in studio two distinguished doctors from Doctors Hospital, Dr. Rado, and from Health City Medical Director, Dr. Krishnan. Now, we've been kind of going through just the past year and a half and a recap of some of the changes, the learning curves, some somewhat comical stories of, in hindsight, comical stories of the logistical nightmare of trying to get and learn about the products that you needed to work through the pandemic for the past year and a half. Looking at borders reopening this coming Saturday, what planning measures have the hospitals taken into account for potential risks, just given that the borders will be reopening, and what do you foresee for the next 6 to 12 months for yourselves in the hospitals? Dr. Rado?
Yeah, so all of us are working very closely with government and the governmental organizations to be prepared. So we do have kind of emergency plans. How many beds do we have available? When do we run out of beds? Who steps in when with their beds and their capacities? You shouldn't cough anymore today.
You're not allowed to cough anymore. You cannot cough in society anymore.
I have a PCR test that is negative from yesterday.
There we go.
So I think so that is one thing. The other thing is, in all of this, we must not forget that people have other diseases but COVID as well, and we need to look after these people as well. So this whole COVID, I think that what we need to do is, especially when we look back at where we were in March 20, and where we are today, we need to actually apply what we have learned and what other countries have gone through in comparison to us and apply it to us. So we have a high vaccination rate. We have a high hospital bed capacity and an ICU bed capacity. So with all of that, we are in a very special situation on island. The opening of the island, I don't think makes any difference. We have COVID rampant here. What protects us is the vaccines from this rampant COVID going and going into over using the hospitals.
Of course.
Next thing is the lateral flow test. We have a new system that we are implementing on Monday to be able to cope with the lateral flow tests that we expect need to be done.
Okay.
So we have invested heavily in that software.
Internally?
It's a software. In the end, you have a couple. It's looking at the process of doing the lateral flow test. It's different than the PCR test.
Okay.
But you still need to give the information to the patient automatically, as we're doing it right now. Okay. So we are using the leverage of having built that all from scratch for the PCR test, and implementing that with the lateral flow test. So
a lot of learning to do still.
We'll see. Monday. The people come on Saturday. They need to have their lateral flow test on day 2, which is Monday. 770 people arrive on Saturday. So we'll see how Monday goes.
We'll see how Monday works out. And as far as Health City, as far as the next 6 months, 12 months, how have you applied your learning from the past year and a half to what's going to happen for your future 6 months?
It's the same. I think the medical fraternity on the island have done their sort of simulations and mock exercises based on the bed capacity and how many patients can we ventilate if we do have a surge situation, how many patients can we give oxygen, and what will be the bed capacity, what will be the flow of patients from Georgetown Hospital to doctors to LCT Cayman Islands. And like what Dr. Rado told, we have got the highest number of ICU beds per capita, almost sort of better than in US, because we've got enough ICU ventilators. We have 19 ICU ventilators at LCT.
19.
Yeah, and we've devoted 11 ventilated beds for a COVID in case we do get into such touch wood. Hopefully we don't get in there. And we also are preparing in terms of lateral flow test to help the tourists who would come in, like what Dr. Ada mentioned, 700 odd tourists are expected this Saturday, and the numbers would increase over the Christmas. So we also have developed a software, and we are trying to do our bit with the lateral flow test, because they would need on day 2, day 5, day 10 and 4 days subsequently from there.
Okay, sure.
And also some of the, I think, passengers would need a lateral flow test before they board the flights. I think some airlines will come in with regulations like that before they go in. And United States also needs them to show a lateral flow certificate before they get into US.
Okay, so you'd have to provide them with that certificate.
So we are doing getting our logistics ready for that. And we have changed a lot of protocols in the ICU. And then we are having a close watch on the community and see how the numbers are increasing. And if you have to change the protocols or alter the flow of the patients in the hospital to take care of the increased patient load, we probably will do that.
Okay, that's good. And then that's as far as both Camana Bay and your East End locations?
Yeah, Camana Bay is just a consultation facility now. We don't have an inpatient facility there.
Okay.
But whatever is needed for a consultation facility, we do that there, right from temperature screening to wearing mask mandatory in the hospital or in the clinic and other personal hygiene.
Still so much to... and as far as you mentioned the numbers, Bez, what is your capacity for at Doctors Hospital for taking in COVID patients if needed?
Well, we are deemed to be the clean house. So if we would be number 3, so Georgetown Hospital will be number 1, then comes South City. If they run out of COVID beds, then we would jump in as well. But first, we all hope that's not going to be necessary.
Sure.
And number 2, you still need a hospital to deliver babies.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, or
you
when you have a broken wrist. I mean, we look as if this whole COVID thing is, we look as if there's nothing else but COVID. Yeah, we have so many people. We have people with cancer. We have people with gallbladder disease and appendicitis.
Sure. No.
They need to be taken care of because, don't forget, this whole reaction of lockdowns and everything is to protect the hospitals from not being able to serve the public for the non-COVID stuff. Yeah, so everybody thinks.
Reminder.
Yeah,
thank you.
So
yes.
we must. This is what this is all about.
Yes.
So you have COVID, you don't have COVID, but let's say your child has an appendicitis. And you come to the hospital and we tell you we don't have a bed for him because we're all filled up with COVID. And you say, like, what am I going to do now? Well, he's going to die in the street. This is what... And the moment you have this happening, and you had it happen in India and in other places as well, this is where the whole web of the society rips.
Collapse.
Yeah. This is why this is so important. And so... Our orders to stay the COVID-free hospital. We have 4 ventilators and we have negative pressure rooms, so we are prepared to do a little bit there as well. But I fear that, and I pray that it doesn't come to that. If it comes to that, we are actually looking overall at a disaster situation.
It's a scary premise, but you're absolutely right. I hope we never have to come to that scenario where we're seeing
and that's why it's important for everyone to get vaccinated. And also I want to add that everyone that got vaccinated, like I and Dr. Krishnan very early, if you are 6 months after your second shot, please get a booster.
Sure.
There is no question, and the data is absolutely clear that we get from Israel, that there is a waning of the efficacy of the after 6 months, and you need a booster. The booster is the magic bullet. The vaccination rate that we have is a fantastic number, but it needs to be redone, reboosted to actually give us the protection and provide us to not getting down the slippery slope of the disaster that that government is preparing for to possibly happen. I mean, we are talking about them opening up the COVID clinic again, and hopefully have it ready by Christmas.
It's preparing for the worst, hoping for the best, preparing for the worst, right?
And
that's the reality.
Absolutely, and I don't. It's the right approach, but everybody can do their portion by getting vaccinated and getting a booster to avoid this.
Dr. Redo, thank you so much for taking time to come in. I do appreciate that. You're both very busy individuals. You're heading up very big units at your hospitals. I thank you so much, Dr. Christian, as well, for coming in from Hell City and sharing just the journey that both your teams at your hospitals have been on over these past 18 months. So thank you again. On that note, we do need to call it a wrap for today's show. Thank you again to all of our loyal listeners out there in Radio Cayman Nation, our guests from Rotary Central, the National Museum, Doctors Hospital, and Hell City. On behalf of the entire Radio Cayman family, thank you for tuning in and sharing your afternoon with us. I'm Raymond Singh. God bless and have a safe rest of your Thursday. Oh, and don't forget, please tune in at 3 p.m. today for the government press briefing in relation to the government and border reopenings this coming weekend.
Exciting.
Have a fantastic and wonderful Thursday afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman.
The voice.
The heart. The soul